All right, guys, let's do this, though. We got a little bit of Mudahar. I got canceled over this video. It's about Keffals. You know, it's something to talk about, guys. You know, not a lot going on, so let's have a little bit of fun. This is coming off the back of him posting that video about Keffals. It was quite interesting. I'll try to remember to link it in my description. So let's see what we got here, just so you guys know. Any moment in this video resonates with you, timestamp it below for me. I'd really appreciate it. Funny, smart, probably never smart, anything. But yeah, let's get this going. Let's see what he has to say. I saw some Twitter people going crazy. Actually quite psychotic, but...
My 600...
Whoa!
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar. I don't know
What about the non-binaries, guys? I knew this guy was some kind of transphobic.
if I'm debating around the idea of Asmongolding the title. Ooh, I've been canceled. But to be real with you, ladies and gentlemen, today I wanted to do a little bit of a debrief on one of the more controversial videos I uploaded in my entire career on this channel. Now, some of you know, 5 days ago, I uploaded a video talking about an internet person.
The thumbnail always kills me, man. It's so rude. It's funny because people on Twitter were calling it transphobic, which it's not. I see them do this stuff to people all the time. It's rude. You know, it's not polite. Not that I care if it's polite, but it's not transphobic. It's just mean, you know.
Known as Keffals, where I looked into their history and looked into a lot of the shady history, and it was about 1 hour and 33 minutes of actual, like, looking into a past, gathering all of the receipts, and putting it together in a concise video. Something I will say I enjoyed really putting together, okay? I love making long-form videos like that, in amongst the daily goofs and the gaffes that we have over here, okay?
That's an Ethan Klein reference.
So, ladies and gentlemen, since then, I've uploaded the video, and it's done pretty positively. It's got around, I think, 95.9% likes to dislike, like the ratio itself.
Oh, very cool, man.
Which, compared to my average of 98%, shows that even with the controversy, a grand majority of
Damn, what's my average? I didn't even find that out.
the people watching on my channel really did enjoy it. And it's one of those types of videos that I like to make. Now, to understand, I make
What the hell was that?
videos on tons of controversial subjects all the time. And in fact, some of my most favorite videos were videos
I'm gonna give up trying to figure it out because I'm too lazy. Sorry.
where I made them on Save the Kids, alongside CoffeeZilla, the whole Rubets investigation, working on The Completionist with Carl Jobs.
I'm trying to save some kids too. Like my doctor said, I had a, you know, I couldn't goon for a little while. Wait. What I mean by that is that I gotta allow my count to go up so that I could be more fertile. I feel like Vosh right now.
And then, of course, doing this. I love covering this kind of stuff because looking into these stories and actually making waves and what I believe is making a difference and informing individuals is something I like doing, okay? Now, since that video's release, there's been some criticism, and none of it surprisingly on the video's content of itself. In fact, ever since this video has come out, there's been a small but somewhat vocal minority of people that have come out and labeled me as a transphobic individual, going as far as to...
Well, yeah, over just the thumbnail. I don't think that I think it was the thumbnail, and also because he looked at Kiwi Farms and used that as a reference, because Kiwi Farms is bad, which it might be. It seems like it's a website for degenerates, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I believe Mudahar was pretty clear that he only used information that he knew he could verify, and it all seemed pretty verified. He did a good job of displaying it to us in a way that's like, oh, this is like legit shit.
Label my wife, who is in an interracial relationship with me, a neo-Nazi.
Ew.
In fact, I found out that because of me having an Indian past, I might be a little bit more Aryan than one would expect.
Oh, I knew it, I think. So all the idiots claiming a Nazi/racist wouldn't be with an Indian person. There is a long-standing theme of white supremacists fetishizing interracial relationships, and the actual World War II Nazis literally named the Indian people honorary Aryans because of their connection to the original real Aryan people and their opposition to the British Empire. I gotta be real with you. I don't think any of this is true. I don't feel like any of this is true. I just feel like these are words people made up to sound smart. Why we always got to bring race into everything? I hate to be that guy, but it's like every day, you know what I mean? Maybe Keffals is just kind of stinky and she's not a good person. Maybe it has nothing to do with her being trans. Everybody think about that?
Now, I shouldn't have to preface this. Honestly, no creator should really have to go out and spell this out, but to anybody watching, I think all Nazism, I think all these kind of evil ideologies are bad, okay?
Me too, bro. Capital bad. Why'd I do that?
Again, here's the wildest thing about this situation, okay? To think that I'm going to pander to a group of people that would call me a poo in the loo in any normal capacity is actually brain dead, okay?
What does that mean? Is that supposed to be racist against Indian people? I've never heard that. That's so weird.
A lot more self-respect than doing that. Now, at the same time, anybody that's hitting at me with maybe, ooh, Muda enjoys a little edgy joke here and there, I come from an old school 4chan era.
Yeah, sure, me too. I enjoy a good edgy joke as long as it's not disrespectful. You know, and I didn't hear anything in that video that was like disrespectful, so I don't even know what they'd be referencing.
Where like anything goes on certain sites.
Or maybe he just posts some edgy shit on Twitter. I mean, like that's the thing. Like Twitter is not great, but like Keffals is full of edgy jokes all the time. That's all they do is like post obnoxious edgy jokes. So if you're a Keffals fan, like you cannot be offended by edgy jokes. Like you're just not allowed to. Like it's okay if you don't like edgy jokes. That's perfectly fine. But but Keffals makes them all the time. That's all she does is make edgy jokes and she's like, I'm just joking. I'm literally headshotting orcs right now. It's crazy. So like you're not allowed to be offended by that. Like if you're somebody who's gonna make those types of jokes, you can't get offended by them. There's always a limit, but Keffals' limit was wild. So
on the internet. So if some of those jokes kind of come out and they may be a little bit crass, it's not coming from a place of hate. It's just because that's the era I'm from. And you know what? Over the last few years, I have genuinely tried to kind of correct myself to be a little more inclusive on this channel and so to speak.
I feel that. Yeah, he's pretty chill with the trans people. Like the way that he talked about Keffals and stuff, he was very progressive. So I don't really see like an issue. Mudahar's probably one of the more progressive content creators I've seen. And he's not annoying about it, so it's because, you know, sometimes people can be very annoying.
But anyways, to go back to like the whole idea of, you know, Nazism and transphobia and all that, I think it's actually quite insulting. For anybody that would even claim on some of these boards, I remember when Muda used to read those creepypastas. That was in the Paleolithic era, dog, but thank you. But if you're one of those people who are like, I remember when he was on the deep web browsing, why can't we go back to some of that? Well, it's because over 200 episodes, you kind of tap out all the content you can. But if you were an active viewer, you would realize that anytime I came across, you know, Nazi content or anything really evil, you know, actual racist behavior, transphobic behavior, I would sit down and actually make fun of that behavior, okay? I would really actually make fun of evil ideologies like that, because I think you should make fun of ideologies like that and really let people know how stupid.
Yeah, it makes sense just to kind of humiliate those ideologies and just like sometimes you don't have to intellectually engage with things. Sometimes you could just bully people, bully the ideology. Obviously, being a Nazi is stupid, you know. And I'm a German, guys, and a Jew, so you know.
Stupid they are. But again, I'm kind of speaking to a group of people that I can never appease, so there's no real reason for me to go down in this regard. But I feel like it's important to mention why I am not any form of Nazi or transphobe or anything of that nature. I think all of that ideology is evil, and when it comes to my community, I welcome everyone. You know, as long as you're not a criminal, a defrauder, a scammer, you know, an actual like pile of garbage that is committing actual felonies and crimes, then, you know, for the most part, I'm cool with people in my community interacting with each other, and I'll advocate and fight for anybody in my community that just wants to be. But yeah, I feel like hitting these things head on is important. I'd rather address this stuff instead of let it fester. Now, the other bit of controversy...
Yeah, I don't like Uncle Fester. Actually, I love Uncle Fester. He's pretty cool.
...for me comes out from using an artist that apparently has been branded as transphobic. Now, the thumbnail for this...
Was it that the artist itself was transphobic? Because what I was seeing, it was just that the art is transphobic for some reason. I don't know.
Video had me and the target, in this case Keffals, looking
sorry, the target, that's fucking wild,
quite sweaty and disheveled and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's what Keffals is doing outside of making YouTube videos. I mean, they're literally on Twitter all day. Like, obviously they're gonna be sweaty and stuff. This is probably a more accurate representation than one might think. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just saying, brother.
Now, the reason for this art was I had simply commissioned an artist whose style I liked. If you look,
by the way, God bless for commissioning an artist, because you know nowadays you could do whatever you can with AI if you want. You know, oh, let me just have an AI make Keffals look normal. Oh, there it is. Would have come up with the same thumbnail, but you know, instead he paid somebody, so good for him.
Look at an image of me that this person drew.
Maybe they just use AI. I don't know.
Months ago. It looks like a character that's kind of like out of Hotline Miami. You can kind of see it in the conversation box. Thought it was cool. This artist has covered numerous people, and it was just recommended to me by Tom, you know, Willie Mack and people.
Oh, dude, Tom, bro, that guy's some kind of phobic, isn't he? I don't know. I'm just being stupid.
You know that who he worked.
There's the proof, guys. He's a bad person.
So I had paid him about $100. You know, just a little commission work. The guy's return was pretty quick. We're talking like 24 to 48 hours, and that was pretty much the end of that. The conversation we had was pretty brief. I asked him just to make me a piece of this individual. And,
pretty boxers.
And that's pretty much the end of it. Now,
my wife has pretty boxers. They're not boxers. They're just pants. You know, they're cute though. I'll wear them sometimes to feel pretty.
people who were zooming into every single aspect of this art, trying to find elements of transphobic caricatures, which is literally a term that was used, is a little bit more self-reporting on these individuals, considering that and from my personal, conversations, had no actual intention of anything. This person drew me for Christ's sake, and I liked it enough to hire him on to draw an artist. Now, obviously, some would say, why would you draw the subject of your critical piece on them in an unflattering light?
It's just how the video is. It's I mean, you're basically priming your audience to be like, this person is bad. And then you're going through the rest of it and you're applying proof to how they are a bad person, which was done pretty well. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Dog, am I going to dig out fucking Michelangelo and resurrect him to make everyone look good? Get out of here. Now, this is somebody that I would have absolutely gotten into the future, would have absolutely contracted again, but because of the actual harassment they had received on the internet, they privated their accounts and, from my understanding, are receding from the art world, which is a pretty sad element.
That's interesting. That's almost suspicious. Not necessarily, but a little bit, right? I mean, I understand people being mean to you on the internet, so I get it. But at the same time, it's like, oh, if you're innocent, man, just fucking grunt and bear it. Although, maybe they just need a little bit of a break from all the hatred. That's crazy, though, that this person had to leave Twitter. Who would have thought somebody would get bullied off of Twitter? One of the nicest platforms ever. Thank you for the $2 from Zealous Immortal. Muda's honest take. Being evil is bad. Yeah, right? What an idiot. Yeah, what? You'd be surprised in some of these Twitter circles how much of a hot take that could be.
And something that, it's actually a net loss in this grand scheme of things. Now, there has been people who have looked into this individual's post history, and some of it has been on Kiwi Farms, and I had no idea of any of these kind of postings. Again, my relation to this was strictly professional and transactional. I hired somebody to make art, and that art
so was the actual artist transphobic? Oh, I mean, that might be true. I still don't think that there is any transphobia pressed through the art, if that makes sense. I'm not really seeing the transphobia of the art. I've seen that style used for a lot of different people, so even if they're transphobic and it made them happier to take the job, I don't, that doesn't need to be changed for the video, so. In this situation, Keffals had actually responded to this piece of art with some pretty shitty criticism. Watch this. As soon as I released this video, Keffals' response to this was, I understand people have criticisms of me. I don't think that I'm above being critiqued. That said, was it Yes, she does. That's just supposed to make you feel like she's a reasonable person, so. For any of the people who don't actually really know who she is, she says that so she comes off as reasonable. Everybody's worth critiquing, but I just feel like you were kind of mean about it. But I don't think he was. He was pretty nice about everything, in my opinion. I don't know. I've seen people be way meaner.
Really necessary to use a transphobic caricature of me in the thumbnail while also not using my pronouns in the video announcement.
That's wild, because he literally did.
Now, the pronouns were kind of shocking because basic English would teach me that I used her, and if anything, I used they. Now, just to delineate from the pronoun point, I have to ask the question, if my video is focusing on actual serious, mentions of monetary mishandling of GoFundMe money or charity money, why is that not addressed in this initial response, but actually the thumbnail, which I guess is apparently allegedly this transphobic caricature, which it's not, and then the misuse of pronouns, which, by the way, people...
Well, it's because I mean, it's just kind of proves the point. Keffals uses everything as a fucking shield. Everything is a shield. Being trans is a shield for Keffals. She likes being Keffals is the kind of person who likes being associated with oppression without actually being oppressed at all, because I don't really think that she is. She's the kind of person that's happy when particular groups of people get oppressed that she can align herself with, because she's a privileged person that's never dealt with it. I'm not trying to be rude or dismissive, but the reality is Keffals is a very passable trans person. She's a woman. And that doesn't understand the typical trans experience, but then weaponizes it every single chance that they get. But they don't have that. They don't have the lack of access to finances to be able to transition, or lack of access of emotional support to be able to go to a reasonable therapist, or live in an area that you wouldn't get access to these things. Most trans people are struggling just to be we'll say heard, just to be considered a human being, in different ways, shapes, and forms. I mean, I'd say the typical experience is just kind of being self-conscious about your existence, because you never know who around you thinks less of you just because of something that you can't control about yourself, and not really having the money to express yourself in the way that you feel on the inside. It's, that's the typical experience. What is Keffals? How does she identify with that? I'm not trying to be super invalidating or anything, but I don't see it. It's just it seems like the online space is full of people who want to forcefully align with a particular thing to claim victim when they don't really have the ability, when they really don't have that typical experience. So
I found out, no, I actually used all the right ones. It's like, why are we not addressing the actual serious elephants in the room? Why are we just deviating to the most nonsense points? And what makes this an even more confusing issue is the fact that she also used the same art on her own videos in her own thumbnails.
Well, she's being transphobic to vouch.
So all of a sudden, when I use it, the guy is producing transphobic caricatures, but when you're using it, it's suddenly...
Oh, stop. We could still say passable. Like, people know I'm not being disrespectful to trans people when I say that. Nobody thinks that. We don't need to, feed into that.
Okay? The whole point of the art was to make the subject look disheveled. That's about it. That's as deep as it...
Yeah, it's just priming to be like, this person's bad, And they are.
Actually goes. Now, one of the reasons for me making a video about Keffals in the first place was, you gotta understand, as somebody that covers internet stuff in general, on my internet content dartboard, there's plenty of topics that exist, okay? This just happened to be the most controversial one. Now, Keffals is an individual that had basically garnered a lot of attention for the last 2 years, and their story is quite complicated.
Yeah, let's be real. They kept asking for the attention. Like, they wanted to garner attention. That's their whole thing on Twitter, is begging for attention. Like, from the few times that I've ever really engaged with her content, it's always about her. It's always something centralizing around her being in some kind of conflict. So it seems like they get into a loop of putting themselves in a position where they're the center of attention. Like, they're not really talking about another topic. They are the topic, and that's the only time people really seem to tune into their content. Nobody seems particularly interested in just kind of like hearing what she has to say about something else. Or maybe some would be, but I imagine it's faster attention to, put yourself in the center of controversy.
To the point that nobody really was able to discuss it in the best faith possible. It was a situation where we had to amalgamate a lot of the information over the course of months in order to build a video that could actually be, something that would be viewed by somebody that had no idea of the situation anyways, and they could come to an actual proper conclusion themselves. The one piece of controversy that I feel is probably
One Piece mentioned.
The best deserved is my actual failure here to reach out to one of the people that I brought into the story as well. Now, this is Femgirl VR, one of the...
Oh, yeah, I saw something where she was like, oh, you're trying to make it seem like I was groomed or something. Like, that was pretty much it. Like, yeah, that's a little bit of a misfire, but like, I guess you should have talked to them first to see how they felt. But also, like, it's like a small inadequacy that doesn't shake the foundation of the entire conversation or what he had said about it.
The people that had...
It's just something for Keffals to harp on and say, he didn't do the right research, even though like everything else was squared off and tidy.
Into the Catboy Ranch segment of the video. Now, in this entire section, I basically had... The only reason I'm making this is because the actual person did come out and say that they didn't appreciate me low-key implying that they were groomed in any capacity. Now, I'm going to go back and fall into the original video that I made and basically state that I have in no way basically said that the entire interaction between the Catboy Ranch account or her was implicative or actually definitive of anything grooming related.
No, I mean, there was a light implication of that, but also it was a pretty weird situation. Watching it, I don't know if it is the truth, but it seems like it might be. So they were like a very young person when Keffals started interacting with them, and Keffals was like actively advocating for like a website that sold a weird, like, basically fucking synced HRT that had like the picture of like a little boy on it, like transitioning, like some kind of lolicon art or whatever it's called. So it's like, that's disgusting. That's disturbing stuff. I'll tell you that.
In fact, a portion of my video was even dedicated to talking about false grooming allegations being used to paint this community, the trans community in specific, as a toxic or an evil community in general. And that is a problem. That is something that does happen.
True.
But in this situation, my whole point was to showcase an entire chain of events. If you have an adult-oriented board, you shouldn't be interacting with anybody who at the time is a minor like this.
True that. I agree with that, brother. I mean, if you want to be really charitable, Keffals just made a big mistake and it's like incredibly stupid and has like a boundary issue. Which is what I said in the video. There's some people, I think somebody was like, oh, I appreciate you trying to be charitable, but I disagree with that kind of, and I was like, that's fair. I try not to go off like the deep end when it comes to my commentary because you never necessarily know, so. But I feel you, Dogler.
Obviously, I'm not here to look at this person and say, shut up, you're wrong. That's not necessarily the case. This is actually well-deserved criticism, and next time it is worth it to go out and get the message from everyone. Or again, I guess put out an entire warning in the video, both visual, maybe even auditory, to remind them that this is not implicative of something that is a serious crime. I would never outright say that somebody would be grooming somebody. That is a very serious allegation. And while there are chances...
Only my barber. I'm just kidding, I don't have a barber. I'm lazy.
Channels that
I
are
just do it myself, and I do an okay job, but I probably should go to like a professional.
pretty laissez-faire with how they put the whole groomer tag on people. This is not something I do on this channel. That whole section of the video is to showcase that the interaction between an adult and minor is not right. Had I interacted with somebody like this in my comment section, this would be called out by any other channel in the same way. And it's just not professional behavior. And that's where it was kind of...
I think it would have been called out in a more intense way. Like, if I feel like anytime that there's a slight link to something that could be potentially perceived as grooming behavior, people will dogpile and jump on it really hard. I don't think Muda Hard did that. There was like a light implication, but it was, I think, a reasonable implication. So... What the hell? Am I eating this guy's ass? Thank you so much for the 17-month small gut from Land O'Lakes. Have I played Hades 2 yet? No, I haven't. I should probably one day. Maybe I'll buy it tomorrow if there's nothing to talk about and play it for the stream.
Leading up to, and to talk about the separation between under 18 accounts and over 18 accounts and so on and so forth. There is no grooming, and I have made no allegation thereof, and that would be pretty wild to make an allegation of in the first place. It is entirely meant to showcase a interaction that should not have ever taken place to begin with between anybody over the age of 18, well into their 20s, and somebody who is not yet a legal adult. All right, so some boards over here is like Muda's wife claims that accusations of neo-Nazism are baseless.
What?
So again, my wife, Jen, she actually liked a few posts of people, sarcastically saying, wow, I guess you must be the best Nazi in the room, being with Muda, an Indian guy, for crying out loud, okay? And of course, in this
kind of based.
situation, some of the craziest comments that I read was, the cognitive dissonance of a Nazi being in an interracial relationship, LMAO. Smartest right-to-white couple. Most white supremacists do.
I think Tipster made that up because his wife, Muda Har's wife, was creeped out by him and wouldn't follow him back, even though he was begging for it.
Either from fetishism or a superiority complex. You'd be surprised to know that there are some neo-Nazis or supremacists who refine with being in interracial relationships because they view their spouses as one of the good ones, or view their relationships as replacing their race genes with white people if they have offsprings, which is kind of such an insane thing to read because we take shit from crazy individuals on the other extreme end all the time. You know how many motherfuckers exist that post memes of like, just not us directly, but like a white couple and like a brown couple and like, absolutely like, I guess you could say deformed.
And they're like, ew, no,
children, so to speak, implying that our genetics are going to deform kids. It's an insane insinuation.
Mine are. I got my genetic test back. I'm just kidding. They're not. I have like some kind of weird thing, but it's not that big of a deal. I have like one carrier of it, but my kid should be fine. I don't know if the genetic test for like intellectual disabilities, because I'm worried about my kid's going to have one of those, man. I have some interesting genes, brother.
To bring up. And it's like, you read comments like this and you think to yourself, man, these people are fucking insane. There is no criticism of the actual video. In fact, if anything, they just jump to the most insane shit. Now, don't worry,
Jen. That's Twitter, man. That's just how Twitter is. They're fucking psychotic.
Jen was absolutely defending herself, as she should, on the internet against some of the craziest people out there. And if she does partake in some crazy jokes, I'll be the first one to tell you, we are an anti-Nazi household. I have spent my entire career crapping on Nazis. If you were a follower of my content versus somebody...
Is that what the poo and the loot thing is referring to? Crapping on Nazis? I'm fucking confused, dude. I really still don't get it.
That pretended to be, you would realize that anytime we were even on deep web browsing, anytime I would come across racist websites, I would absolutely...
Wow, look at this beautiful art picture, guys. There's actually who made this was an Austrian painter. I hope he gets into art school.
Shut them down by making fun of them, because that's what you do with insane Nazis. You make fun of them and you shut them down in front of the world, okay? You don't replicate or bring their beliefs, you shit on them outright. Now I'm gonna do a little thing that I don't normally do, and I'm gonna read a whole comment from start to finish, just to bring up how brain dead the discourse was around this video. I got nothing to do with that video. Here I'm gonna read. I have to blur out the name just because the stupid branch is real.
Oh, this is America. Red, white, blue, baby.
Though alt-rightoids ideologically err in many...
It's for that phrase refers to him being a token Indian guy. I don't even understand what that means, dude. I'm such an innocent guy. Like, I'm not racist at all, so I wouldn't get it,
Non-Aryans like Semites, Latinx, and Sub-Saharan Africans, Muda and her are a fairly Aryan couple, and I believe Hitler would approve.
What the fuck? Why does this guy speak for Hitler? Is my question. This comment there feels they could speak for... That's weird as hell, man. I personally would never speak for the guy because I think he's bad. Everybody clap. Incredible stuff. Crash course on race theory follows. Amateur racists always screw up on this because they're culturally appropriating terms from noble German racism into vulgar American racism. AKA white is good, everything else is bad. Blonde hair and blue eyes are Nordic Aryans. Jen does not have blue eyes, by the way. But among the Aryans, we have... I do. I have beautiful blue eyes, and I was born blonde. And then it went away after a couple of years. It was weird. I don't know why that stuff happens, but it's fine. I look fine. Oh, okay.
Diversity, our strength. I'm not even going to pretend. Half of you guys mess up Indian words. Whatever. Require you to understand PIY and the Aryan migrations. Some Afghanis, English, Celts, Iranians. Iran comes from Aryan, by the way. Japanese honorary, and plenty of other brown hair, brown-eyed, even darker-skinned people, like Italians, are Aryans. Muda is part Aryan because Brahmins are upper caste Indians. Which is funny because I'm pretty sure I've told people that I am Muslim.
Bro, what the fuck is happening here? Why are people so weird on the internet? I swear to God, most of these people who like educate themselves on racism and shit are just doing it so that they can try to be more racist and smarter about it. Like, this is so fucking weird, man.
Muslim, not in the Hindu section. Again, it shows you the level of racism from this jackass, where he assumes just because I'm from India, I am suddenly Hindu all of a sudden. Maybe look up the country first, okay? But anyways, the Indians come from Indo-Aryan people that derive. Arya is Sanskrit for noble. Though the NSDAP stance on this was Indians have intermixed too much to be pure Aryans. They nonetheless have Aryan blood. So while they may be an interracial couple, Dojangles
what the fuck?
married Muda because of his Aryan ancestry. This is proven when she talks about the 23andMe test she had him do before dating. Now, I want somebody to. This is like an example.
I mean, I guess I'm curious about why you guys did a 23andMe test, but also I don't think I care. This is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they were just being silly. Maybe they just wanted the government to have their DNA to make a clone out of them, you know?
This is a very serious claim. Please find a timestamp of her claiming anywhere in a tweet that she made me do a 23andMe test. I've never fucking done it. I've never given up my genetic data, and neither is she to Google or anyone. You know what the fuck my genetic history would probably be? 99.9% Indian boy. What the Now, where she found Vedic Aryan blood in him, i.e. founder Aryan, her explication of this means she follows NSDAP racialism, obviously a cultured woman. Indians such as Muda were immensely desirable in the Third Reich.
There's no way that this is real. I feel like, I mean, I don't know if the Nazis were explicitly against Indian people, but I feel like they didn't like them. Hot take? I don't know. This is so weird though, dude. Even if any of this is real, why would you ever know about this? Like, this is the most conspiracy brain fucking terminally online dog shit I've ever seen in my life. You're like so obsessed with like race. Like, you're trying to make it seem like she's a fetishist because she married a fucking brown guy. That's racist to me. I mean, Jesus Christ, you know? Maybe she just liked the street food. Maybe she likes having diarrhea. I don't know.
God damn! Well, this is why I don't take Reddit seriously, okay? Because this is what happens when you stay unemployed too fucking long. You start doing shit like this. Oh man, I needed that, dude. I swear to God. There hasn't been a goddamn comedy special that's been this fucking funny for a goddamn while, dude. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Now, I didn't expect the video to be making some crazy waves, but it actually did in the sense that one of the larger publications, TYT, which I guess is...
Oh yeah, we saw that one too. They disavowed Keffals.
mainstream enough to be...
It's not Keffal, it's Keffals because they are them. They're multiple people. That's not true. It's a woman, but... I thought that joke might be funny, but I don't think I was. I don't think I made a funny joke, to be honest with you. I think I made a stupid joke.
Showing up in Google News recommendations, ended up using portions of my video as a correction for their own actual reporting. And they even called on other actual, like, big publications to offer retractions. Now, I haven't seen this, so I don't know what the effort of this, what they have said entirely in this 18-minute piece. But to understand, this is a story that when I covered, I like to look at the facts of a situation, right? Beyond all of the crazy controversies, there is truth that hides in these videos. And I'm not here to get a response out of anybody or whatnot. What I am here is to lay out the truth. And it took me 1 hour and 33 minutes to do so, and I feel like I did a good enough job. Now, for any other...
Yeah, I liked it. It was a good video, man.
...organization or journalist group out there that ran with the Drop Kiwi farm story without understanding all of the facts should offer some form of retractions. And we did put our utmost research into covering the story because at the end of the day, okay, I have had my own mistakes. I've made mistakes in coverage in the past. And mistakes...
Hey, who hasn't, dude? You know, you live and you learn. You live and you learn through your mistakes, brothers.
They happen. You know, it's a human situation. But when covering a story, some of you may remember when I covered Ethan Klein, and I made a big blunder. And ever since then, it takes a lot to basically pass through the editing shelf. There will be mistakes, and who knows, in the future you may have to issue a retraction from even here. But when covering these...
I mean, shit happens. There's a difference between sometimes getting stuff wrong versus like consistently engaging in the same pattern. You know what I mean? Sometimes shit just happens.
Kind of stories. It's about objectivity, and it's about reaching for the facts. And that's one of the things that we really do aim for on this channel. Now, and beyond all of this, too, there were other people in this community, the trans community, that came out and did talk about this as well. For instance, one individual known as Star Oxvia actually made a long thread discussing another angle of the financial kerfuffle that Keffals had with the GoFundMe money. And that's kind of what this whole situation boils back down to. Look, at the end of the day, there was some controversy in this situation, but looking into the whole Keffals' story in regards to the GoFundMe, a GoFundMe that is still active to this day, by the way. This is a GoFundMe.
Is it still going? Wow, she's taking that. She's really capitalizing on that goddamn GoFundMe. I mean, listen, at this point, it's not like it's gonna hurt her credibility anymore. She might as well keep. She might as well keep it plugging, I guess. Okay.
That you can still donate to. In fact, right now you can still see that Muda donated $5 8 days ago. Okay.
Damn. I can't believe somebody gave money the day after Mudahar did. What the hell? What the fuck?
So to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those situations where if you are somebody that has felt that you donated to this and you feel that this fundraiser actually is, there
cheated you, yeah, ask for your money back, bro.
There's some malfeasance behind it, which seems to be a pretty strong case ever since I've covered it and plenty of other people have covered it, then it's one that I would recommend if you have donated to and you do feel wrong, you can always report. And that might be the best possible case out there. And now I guess it's time to end this.
Yeah, and I feel like the TYT video is probably arguably more damaging than Mudahar's. I mean, obviously Mudahar's video inspired the TYT video, but I imagine there were more people in the Young Turks' audience who had actually downloaded it and hadn't really kept up what was going on, and when they saw that, they would be more likely to be like, wait, what the hell is happening? Oh, this person wasn't genuine? Like, that's really frustrating. I really wouldn't doubt it. So that video probably really fucking piled a little bit of a diarrhea on that poopy sandwich.
This video with just the final closing thoughts. I never have ill will towards anybody that I ever cover in a video, okay? I think generally most people can reform and do the right thing, provided they haven't broken some crime that, it's hard to come back from. I think...
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I don't know if Keffals has the capacity. Like, Keffals could do it. Nothing that she's done, in my opinion, whatever warrants like a permanent cancellation, but I don't think that she's the kind of person that can reflect on her bad actions and try to, move forward more responsibly and better. I just don't see that as something that she could engage with, so I don't really see her moving forward and doing anything. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't care. Like, it's not something that matters whether I'm wrong or not about this topic. That's how I feel about it right now. If she changes, good for her. I have no skin in the game. I don't care if she succeeds. I don't care if she fails. I don't give a shit at all.
People like Keffals, if they refunded their money and truly apologize to the community that they represent, the trans community, then all can basically turn around and turn their life into the better. Okay?
Or she could just steal it and try to make her content better, and people would move on too from that. But I don't know if, all her content just seems to be about her. Like, oh, I'm in a controversy, guys. Like, check me out. Ha ha ha, something's happening. Time to cancel Hassan. Time to cancel this person. It doesn't really seem like she has much content outside of that.
Okay? But at the end of all this, right, one of the big key concerns that I have is financial malfeasance. People that I talk to in this situation that constantly bring up things like, Muda, this is just drama. Are you covering this because you're a drama channel or something? It's funny because...
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Because the people that I cover,
what the fuck?
Who are my friends in this space, right? Or used to be. People like The Completionist is just one example. Who'll tell me in a call, Mood, I love your content. I love when you cover stuff like Logan Paul and whatnot, or like you cover actual scams. And the moment my crosshairs turn to them, then I'm a fucking drama channel. Then I'm just like, ooh, TMZ. Even though that we're bringing like actual facts, receipts, interviews.
I mean, I don't think there's an issue with doing drama as long as you're not some kind of obnoxious, disproportionate asshole, like, drama starter about it. I mean, I just talk about people, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here trying to sensationalize things. I feel like that's where the drama becomes like a problem, when you're sensationalizing it, making it seem like the end of the world is here over something that's not necessarily that big. Being proportionate, I think, is more important than anything else. What the fuck, dude? Let me get your quest.
We're doing the best that we can in this situation. These are things that I want to address, and with people like Keffals, I wish the actual criticism was strong. I wish people could criticize the actual video versus delineating it to a thumbnail or, allegations of my significant other being a neo-Nazi, which are completely unfounded, okay? It's just hilarious.
Maybe that's hot, though. Maybe you guys have like a little, like a bedroom kind of like, hey, fuck you, and they say some kind of slur. I don't know any Indian slurs, but maybe, listen, God bless. You know, if that's what you get into, you know what I mean. As long as it's as long as it's consensual, who am I? You know.
Dumb. But again, to situations like this, I think the real harm and the real implication is this isn't drama to me. This is something where actual money and actual harm is caused. Now, the money that in this situation, $101,343, which may or may not be appropriated properly, this is something that needs to be addressed. And for a community of people, the trans community specifically, where resources don't grow on a tree, okay? There's not like a here's your $1 million check, go ahead. There are people in this community that suffer from homelessness, ostracization from their communities, their families, sometimes their friends, people who going homeless can absolutely ruin the rest of their lives or a good chunk of their life if they don't have the right resources and the right people there at the right time to assist them at their lowest. This kind of money can be life-changing for a whole group of activisms, for a whole, slew of activism, or to actually get people on their feet. Keffals has misappropriated this money as far as what we've seen, what we believe to have seen, and it's money that could be used for much better reasons or much better cases.
Yeah, like just nothing. It could literally burn it and probably be a more productive resource because she's burning through it too. If you know what I'm saying.
And while I don't care if she responds to me, I don't give a shit about any of that. I do believe she owes her community and the trans community some form of actual transparency in the situation. And maybe that'll
get it, transparency.
Maybe it won't. But ladies and gentlemen, yeah, Nuke dropped, and I wanted to talk about it because it has been one of my most controversial videos. It was actually something that I was a little bit worried releasing. But thankfully, everything turned out to be pretty well and good. Now, honestly, after all of this, looking through my Reddit and looking through people talking about, I want kind of Muda that covers the deep web or haunted gaming back. And it's one of those things that I address. After covering this, it's not that I'm going to stop covering it. This kind of stuff really genuinely interests me and sparks my eyes.
Yeah, you're better off talking about multiple things and going like a little bit, doing your thing, man. It's good to have a little bit of variance in your content. Keep it a little fresh, keep it interesting, even if it's just for yourself. Even if the video doesn't do well, but like you enjoyed making it, that could be the we'll say like almost like the mental health break you needed. So there's nothing wrong with that.
As some of you can tell. But I do feel after covering this, I need something on a Sunday that lightning rods my channel into one specific theme. And maybe it's time deep web browsing comes back for good on Sundays. Maybe we go from episode 200 all the way to episode 400. Because the internet is growing weirder by the minute. Or maybe it's time to actually go across and, cover things in the haunted gaming world again. There's so many games that come out that are actually creepypasta oriented. Recently, I played a game, No Players Online, which I absolutely enjoyed, and I kind of would love to cover those, not from a Let's Play perspective, but maybe from the same perspective that I did the Keffals video, which is a video essayist perspective. It seems like the content does really well on my channel, and I wonder if that's what you guys would like to see somewhat in the future. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
Yeah, it was a good video. Thankfully, when WoW was developing their games, they decided to make some of the most boring fucking quests where you press 1 or 2 to keep something centered, as if this is like the most fucking incredibly engaging gameplay in the world. Like, good job, guys. That wasn't, nobody must have tested that. But okay, good video.